All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Things. David here, as usual, along with my co-host Sammy. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to keep up with all our interviews and topics on the professional wrestling and sports world. Today, we are joined by a very special guest. He is a former, very successful collegiate wrestler at the University of Minnesota. You may have seen him on WWNXT, killing it. We are joined today by professional wrestler Bobby Steveson. Bobby, how are you doing today, man?
Yo, what's up, man? How you doing? Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. So I'd like to start right off the bat, Bobby. Obviously, the professional wrestling business is a business where reality and storyline is the lines are constantly being blurred. So as a professional wrestler, you went by the name of Damon Kemp in NXT. I'd like to ask right now that you're a free agent, who is Bobby Steveson and how much of that real life individual bleeds into your persona as a professional wrestler? And what do you want fans to feel when they're watching Bobby Steveson?
Yeah, so obviously Bobby Steveson and pro wrestling and Bobby Steveson out on the in public are two different people. So I'm normally a little bit more of a shy guy, a little bit more taken back, and just like I'm more aware of my surroundings versus being the extrovert and making everything about me. So I think it's two different people. But when people watch me, I've been looking to, get into different companies and stuff like that. We just had a few family things going on. So it's kind of delayed a few things here and there, I had a few bookings lined up, with pretty good companies, but they just unfortunately just didn't fall through just because of timing and dates just didn't really line up for me. But no, if you whenever I get out on one of these shows, I want you guys to feel like the raw emotion, the intensity that I bring to these rings, make everything legit. I want to make fans feel like they're actually watching a real fight. When I'm in the ring, make anything feel special. So when they go home at night, they're talking with their parents, the kids are talking with their parents, the parents are talking with their kids. Like, oh, remember that Bobby Steveson guy? Remember that what he did right there? I thought, you sure he was all right? You sure the guy was you sure that he didn't hurt him? Just make everything like bring the legitness to the professional wrestling.
Great. I buy that, and that's legit right there. Sammy, you want to jump in here?
Yeah, absolutely. So Bobby, I hope everything's well on this Sunday. Beautiful Sunday.
How you doing?
Yeah. So obviously, you did the collegiate wrestling, and then you got the great background in that type of department. But when the WWE and the NXT, when you first got to greet them and have your sit downs with them or whatever meetings with them, what was like the biggest qualities of you that they saw as like a talent where they wanted to reel you in and bring you in?
I think I got a pretty cool look, and then with my background with amateur wrestling, I make everything fundamentally sound when it comes to like that, like my big suplexes and my throws and stuff like that. It just looks so clean, and then having the amateur wrestling background, being able to do the transition over to pro wrestling, I thought it was pretty easy because, I wrestled my whole life, like actual wrestling and like trying to hurt someone, within the rules of amateur wrestling. And then going over to pro wrestling where in a sense you're just, you're making it look real, but you're not actually trying to, break the guy's arm like how you would do in amateur wrestling.
Right.
So the transition over, I thought it was pretty easy. Just like I know how to grab someone's body, I know how to make someone move. I know the just being able to put my hands on someone to make them move how I want to move. I think the transition over, it was pretty easy. Then things that made me stand out. I've always been the type of guy to keep my ears shut, mouth open, mouth closed, ears open. I'm always focused on, my coaches were teaching in class. I was the guy always disrupting and stuff like that. I was always pretty much locked in on what I got to do because I know I had goals where I wanted to be, in the company. and I knew if I was still new to it when I started because I didn't do anything in the indies. So when it came to basically restarting, being learning how to be a sports entertainer, and then restarting a whole new, an art form. I was pretty much locked in, and then like when I did my tryout, I was locked in. So like when I went go back on my tryout, so when I did my trial, it was like a week long. They wanted me to come in for like 3 days or so, and I was like, hey, I really want this. I want to be a part of this. I want the full experience. I want to come for a whole week. I really want to show you guys what I can do, what I'm able to do, just to get a good look. I didn't want to have any, just a few days to go, and then I think the thing that caught their attention was, I was really athletic in the ring with my roles. And, the drills they had me do, I did really well with them. And then of course just showing respect to the business because there's guys, pro wrestlers, or even the coaches that have been doing it their whole lives. I didn't want to come in and be that new guy to, with my chest puffed out, acting like I know everything when I don't. Trying to learn something new. So I want to show them the respect. This is something that they've done to feed their families. Is something that they love and that they're passionate about, just like how I was passionate about, the pro wrestling. The amateur wrestling side.
Bobby, you had a successful high school and collegiate wrestling career. You secured 3 state championship titles and qualified for the NCAA championships in 2017 and earned letter winner status in both 2017 and 2018. Was it hard to adjust to pro wrestling at all?
Oh. There's a few things here and there to adjust to, just the sense of like the sports entertainment. And then obviously you gotta it's a choreographed dance essentially that you got to memorize when you go out, but like memorize what you got to do when you go out there. So I think that was the only thing to learn. And then on top of that, with amateur wrestling or like any sport, you're always taught to be like, you don't really show any emotion, like football, wrestling, hockey. Like you're just trained to knock someone's head off, So then coming into the pro wrestling, it was more so just having to learn how to, in a sense, be free in the ring, not being afraid to show emotion or, just like show enough motion to connect to the audience, whether if you want to quote unquote be a badass or if you're a baby face or whatever you're told to be. It's just learning how to portray that person in the ring. Just like you guys know watching wrestling. You can see it if a guy's not into it or he feels a little awkward out there or he looks a little awkward, because he's scared to like open up or, be over the top with the selling and stuff like that and the dramatics. You can see it, then he's like, oh yeah, that guy, he looks a little nervous out there. Then there's a disconnect of the crowd and that performer. So I'd say the only thing that was pretty tough was just like, just basically just trusting someone else with your body, and then just learning what being a what's the term, a professional, in the sports entertainment business.
So essentially, the hardest part for you was kind of the emotion and showmanship part of it, you would say? Or?
Yeah, starting out, yeah. Because, like I said, the background that I have is just like we were taught to be like, fake crying or being over the top or looking dumb, stuff like that. But no, I got to thank Terry Taylor. He was one of my coaches for like the majority of the time that I was in NXT. He helped me out a lot, just like not giving a crap, like looking dumb, looking stupid, especially like being a heel. Like you're the heel, you're smashing the baby face. So when it's time for the baby face to turn it around, you got to kind of be over the top because that's what the fans want to find. They want to see the heel, get his butt whooped at the end, So he really helps me, just like really being over the top by selling. Watching The Rock, how he was over the top. Stone Cold, just those guys that were just like over the top. Shawn Michaels, when he was doing his over the top selling and stuff like that. So I watched a little bit of that. Just so I can incorporate it into my style. Granted, I'm not going to do all the flipping, selling that Sean did or stuff like that. So I watched The Rock. So whenever he would get punched, like back then when he was fighting, doing matches with Stone Cold, he was like always over the top, throwing the hands around, over the top, being goofy and stuff like that. So Terry really helped implement that into my brain, it's like that's what the people want to see. So like when I was in his class, I feel like after a few things, like after a few feuds, he really helped me, make that next step in the sports entertainment world. Just being over the top, do what the crowd wants you to do as a sense of, be over the top. You're not being over the top. You're a heel. You're not giving it. And he would always say a quote unquote entertaining ass whooping. You got to be entertaining. So once I was in his class, I was in his class for like almost like seemed like 2 years when I was there. That's when I feel like my wrestling really, or like my selling and my entertainment side really elevated myself, to be more in the mix.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I think Terry hit the nail on that head with saying an entertaining ass whooping, because some of the best moments you walk in wrestling is when that heel is really selling over the top and taking it. And you say The Rock. I think one of the most recent examples is The Rock just selling that beat down from Cody Rhodes after bloodying him on Monday Night Raw. There's a certain magic in being over the top and making your opponent look good. It's very unique in pro wrestling. Sammy, you got something?
Everyone's work. You got to work together. You can't really have an ego going out there because it takes two to tango.
Right.
Absolutely.
If one guy's a little off and doesn't want to do something, I feel like the whole match is kind of like that. Like the crowd's like, I don't know if he wasn't really into it, but kind of got to put those differences aside. Like you're performing for the brand and for the people that pay to come watch you perform.
Yeah, absolutely. Bobby, during your time there, right? What would you say was like the big standout differences between when you spent time in like the NXT UK versus when you were spending time in like the other NXT, which is more like Americanized and more of what the WWE Raw and SmackDowns are trying to do?
So when I was in the UK, dude, I was only like 7 months into pro wrestling.
Wow.
So like I still didn't know anything. I was still learning and stuff like that. But what I did see was, this is just me. I seen, because like I was in Robbie Brookside, British wrestler. Yeah. I was in his class, and his thing was like the wrist locks and like the Johnny Saints and stuff like that, and like the cool, slick, technical ways to get out of holds. And I've always kind of, for me, I've always enjoyed seeing that stuff like that. Even though I was a bigger guy, I always found it to be kind of cool to see like a big guy, move like a little guy. Catches the crowd off. Kind of catches the crowd off guard. Like, oh man, this guy's a little technical, but he's actually, doing the wrist locks and all this cool escape methods. So when I went to the UK, I was there for like 3 tapings, and then like I said, I didn't know anything. I was learning, but Robbie Brookside always talked about Johnny Saint. So I actually got to work with Johnny Saint on like some of his stuff that he did back then. So like the thing I realized over there, I think a lot of them a little bit more technical with their style over there. Granted, I think it was kind of the same a little bit, but I think they're a lot more. Yeah, I'd say they're more technical. But what I didn't know is also like a lot of them were able to work on like independents also in the UK. So I didn't know. I didn't know that. I thought they were all just like strictly like NXT. But I guess like the guys like Pretty Deadly, they started out as like extra talent for NXT UK, and then you look where they're at, and then it's like it's pretty cool to see like you start out as an extra, then you're like you're on the main roster. They're doing the thing, which is pretty cool. And they got a pretty cool dynamic too. So like I didn't know like the difference was like a few people that I wrestled. The one guy that I wrestled over there, he was just an extra talent that they would have for like TV tapings and stuff like that. So it definitely seemed like you're only with them for like a short amount of time. So everyone was like pretty like nice to be around and stuff like that, especially with everyone's different backgrounds. Everyone's trying to help someone out. They all knew that I was pretty new with it. Like I said, I didn't come in like puffing my chest out like I'm the amateur wrestler. And I got in the ring and I was watching, watching and rolling around, asking questions and stuff like that. Rolling with Johnny Saint. I remember one of the first times I got to actually talk to Noam Dar was there, and we actually got in the wrestling. We got in the ring, and I just showed him like a bunch of amateur stuff, and we kind of clicked in that sense. So he showed me, because I think he does some like boxing, jiu-jitsu, and like stuff like that. So like I got to show him like a few like really legit stuff, and he really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed what he showed me too. And it was just like a day thing. It was nothing crazy, but so they all really enjoyed to learn. And I guess like a lot of them were big fans of the Japan style, like the catch wrestling too. So what I kind of brought to the table was kind of similar to what a lot of those athletes, well, a lot of those performers enjoyed. So it was kind of cool to connect with them in that way too.
Bobby, what would you say made you use the gut ring suplex as one of your signature moves?
That's an amateur move. It's an amateur move. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with freestyle wrestling. So like in the Olympics and stuff. So that was something like freestyle wrestlers do, just the gut wrench suplex. And I was like, oh, pretty much the same thing. I was like, why not use it? And then it was kind of funny because like when I did a match with Dante Chen, I'm like level up or something, and that was like one of my first cards was the reverse suplex, and I had Dante Chen in the reverse suplex throwing them, and that was kind of cool seeing like the amateur wrestling being brought to pro wrestling, and now it's on a wrestling card. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So Bobby, going forward, are you gonna be okay with kind of going forward with the same similar type of character and gimmick and persona, or when you get back in the swing of things, would you like a brand new, like, fresh start, fresh change?
I think the things I was doing, it wasn't anything to change. I don't think the groups I were in, they're still doing what they're doing, but it's like we all fit in that certain dynamic. So I don't think there's really much to change. I'll still wear a singlet. I'll change a few things here and there, maybe. But like what I feel like what I was doing was working, in a sense. But I was always told like everyone enjoyed what I was doing, the selling, the legitness, the wrestling, the grappling, all that other stuff. So there was never really a thing like, hey, we need you to change this, But I don't think there's really a sense of change. Like I kind of like every match, I always made it a point to add something new in. With being new, I always made it a point to try something new. So that way, like the people watching, like the important people watching, always seem like a progression of me trying something. I was never afraid to fall on my face or like try something new. Like, oh, that didn't work. That at least I tried it. Getting out of the comfort zone, because like for me, you try something new, then it's what's going to hurt? You're going to elevate yourself, or you're going to learn from it and then just keep moving forward. But I feel like staying in the safety thing of like, oh man, I don't know if I can do that this time, man. And then let's just play it safe and let's just do this again. But I did it like 4 matches ago. But like I always made the point like two or three new things, whether it's like a move or a sequence or if a different cell or just something. I always made the point to like constantly always change something. So like I was a fan of. I watched like a few, like when Cody Rhodes does a little kick to the stomach, drop down to his back, and he does stuff like that. I thought that stuff was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So watched his brother. So when I did the thing where I would like, how did I do it? I kind of did something similar. And if we're doing like an exchange, gut punch, double drop to my knees, up punch from there, or like someone shoots me off, they go for a back body drop. I stop, hold the rope, drop to my knees, bam, pop them up from there. Kind of like what Jey Uso does too. But it was like little cool things like that I enjoyed watching. Granted, it maybe did fit the grappling thing, but I was always trying to like always innovate. I never wanted to stay in one spot, like just stay stale. So I wanted to add the cool little tricks in there. So I would always watch stuff like that, just like elevate myself and just show something new,
Yeah, absolutely.
But as far as like completely changing everything, I don't think there's really need to completely change everything. I don't need to come out there with like a big leather jacket and boots, all that stuff like that. But I was making those slowly adjustments. I always wrestled like in wrestling shoes, and then towards the end I got boots, and I really enjoyed the boots and that look. And then I brought the vest out, from like my last match, whatever. And then I wore the vest. So I was like slowly adding on to the character and like slowly developing him. And because I was always told you want to try to make a change every 6 months or a year to adding on top of to who you are, just like slowly just developing, go through the different stages. Because if you look at the different stages, I think someone put on Twitter, it was kind of cool to see when Jey Uso first started like a decade ago, and then what he is now. I thought it was cool just to see like that complete change of him elevating himself and changing the look and not staying here the whole time. So it's pretty cool to like look back, like, oh man, I was pretty cool. Like he came in with some long hair, doing this thing, and now he is what he is now, which I think is pretty cool. How he has the crowd in his hand, they got him going stupid like it's a nightclub in there. And so it's kind of cool to see that elevation. So I was trying to slowly do that, with the time that I was given, just to keep giving a new look and giving the fans a new look, giving the people in charge a new look, just to show them that I was trying new things and stuff like that.
You mentioned legitimacy, and I do think that that is one of your strengths. Everything just looks like it hurts with you. I know we're close to time here, but I have to ask. One match of yours that really stood out is the NXT Underground match. And for those that may not know, it's a match where there's no ropes. You could only win by knockout, technical knockout, or submission. And there's one spot in the match when you faced Eddie Thorpe where you belly to belly suplex him out to the floor from in the ring. And it really, really looked painful. Is that one of those moments where he came to the back and was like, "Man, you got me pretty good"? Did you mean to slam him that hard, Bobby?
No, he was good. I thought he was dead. How loud the smack was, like his sweaty body hitting the floor, and then the crowd's crazy reaction. But it's funny because he pitched that idea, and I was like, "You sure you want to do that?" And he was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And I was like, "Wow. All right, cool, let's roll with it." And then when we got to the back, it was great. We were all hugging out each other and stuff like that, really appreciating, like, we both took care of each other for what the limited, information that we want, that what they wanted for the match. So it was pretty cool to like go out there and make magic, I think it fed into both of our realms of like, because he does like a little Muay Thai and stuff like that, my background. So it was like a perfect mesh of like a perfect opportunity to bring something like that back with the right people. So yeah, when I threw him, that was kind of scary. I just hope he's moving or something, then and then the ref, he was like, "Yeah, he's good. Go ahead." And then we just kept continuing our stuff. But it was fun. It's kind of cool to see. I guess like before the NXT Underground matches, because when we got told we were going to do it, we didn't know what it was. So I just went on like YouTube and like try to watch it. And I guess like a few years ago they used to do it in the warehouse of NXT and stuff like that. And I guess people weren't really rocking with it. But no, it was kind of cool to kind of have like the setup of the people around the ring and stuff like that. It really made it like a fight club, a fight club vibe. And it's funny because we did a double taping that day. We didn't get to wrestle until like 11:30 at night.
Wow.
Yeah. So we were like, they had to do it last because they had to keep all the shows going, and they wanted it last because they got to take down all the ropes. And then so that match was like 11:30 at night. Like everyone was kind of just like, slowly going. It's just Tuesday night. It's 11:30. We're like, oh crap, we got to get into it. We got a lot of things going. We got a lot of things riding on this. A possibility, like in the sense being the guinea pigs of bringing, having the opportunity to bring this back. If it sucks, we're definitely gonna know. But if it's good, we're gonna know also. And then so we had a lot of riding on that. So we were both kind of tired. I think mentally just tired because we had just had so much weighing on us for that. And then 11:30 at night, then we had all the people come around the ring, and then it was funny. We all had like a little pep talk before we went out. Everyone get hyped up and stuff like that, and it was crazy. Yeah, it was pretty loud there, pretty electric, pretty great vibes. It actually kind of felt like I was getting ready to like a fight club scene, like actually getting into a fight, in the back alley or something, having all the people standing around and stuff like that. I kind of wish that, because we pre-recorded it, and I wish they would have, had that as the main event, because I think on the chart or whatever, like the TV ratings, we had like the highest rating of that night. So it was pretty cool.
Wow, that's awesome. That's
Wow.
good to know. I, for one, think that was probably just from a realism perspective, that was probably the most entertaining underground match so far. There hasn't been many of them, but I think that was the most believable and fun to watch.
Well, it's cool because there's a lot of people in the business too with legit backgrounds. You know, like how they did it with the girls and stuff like that, and then Eddie did a few more. You know, it's a sense, you know, just you get there's a lot of people, there's a few people, you know, in WWE right now, and they did so far they've done it with the right people. But there's a few other people that can you know, put on a great show too. So I hope it gets more opportunities to be put on like pay-per-views and stuff like that, and you know, give people the opportunity to like, you know, see some guys actually get in their scrap with a pretty big background, pretty solid background that could actually fight or do what they did before they came here. So I hope it gets to be out there a little more, you know. And then I watched a little bit blood sport. Now I'm interested in doing that too. So I just got to figure out like what opportunities they have and stuff like that. So I watched some of that too. So it'd be cool to actually get in there and just, you know, just go in there and fight, you know.
Yeah, you would fit perfectly in blood sport. Hopefully we can see that happen. But you know, I want to be respectful of your time, but so we're gonna wrap up here. I'd like to wrap up with this. Are there any future appearances that you would like to plug in? What does the future hold for you?
Yeah, I got a few things coming up. So it's kind of funny. A lot of people don't know this. I'm a big country music fan. I've actually do a little bit of country music myself. So me and my boy Ethan Carl, he's from St. Louis, Missouri. He has some good music out. Him and I, we're dropping a country song hopefully within the month. Nice. I think it's going to be pretty good. So, you know, I've always had aspirations to, you know, be in a country singer area. I love country. I love all that stuff. Wow. But you wouldn't see that with talking to me. But so hopefully, you know, the next step is, you know, just to, you know, not have to take bumps and break my neck, you know, instead of just use my voice and go sing and stuff like that. Entertain the crowd in a different way. So got some stuff like that. I'm also opening up my own wrestling club here in Orlando, Florida. I'm just waiting for a few things on my end, you know, just to get situated. And then once I get things rolling, I'm gonna open the wrestling club up to whoever wants to come, you know, high school kids in the area, you know, middle school, you know, new kids that want to try it. You know, I'm gonna open it up to like pro wrestlers, you know, that want to give it a go just to make their movements a little bit more legit in the ring, you know, help them learn how to control their body a little more, you know, so start like a little intermediate class, stuff like that. But it's going to be really open to everyone, and I got some good people on my side that are helping me, you know, progress that progress, and so some good things are coming to the Central Florida area.
Great,
so
great.
Good. Yeah.
Great variety of projects there. Thank you for letting us know and letting the public know. And I want to sincerely thank you for giving us this time here on a Sunday afternoon. And good luck to you in all your endeavors. And you have a great rest of your day.
Absolutely, Bobby.